Hi everybody. Hi everybody. It's your friend Daniel Hutchins. We're outside again. You see I got my green beanie hat on. I got my green beanie hat on my head today. It's kind of chill outside, dude. It's kind of chilly out here. I'm out here in tiny town, South Carolina. Down here with my... Okay, yeah, this is a Dan and Dallas the Puppy Show. Okay, so you gotta know how this goes. I talk about some stuff. Right? Right. So... I woke up this morning and then I was like watching TV, and then I had helped my dad with his shower. He took his morning drive and then he came back. Then I was like, oh yeah, it's kind of cold today. I was like, yeah, I know, it's been really cold lately. Hasn't been as cold up here than it has up north. I mean, up north it's really cold, but down here it's like pussy cold. But again, in case you guys are wondering if I'm going to be doing some more comic book announcements, yes, I'll be doing some comic book news, and yes, I'll be doing some comic book announcements. I'll probably have to be squeezing them in later tonight, just because, I have to fill in my day, with taking care of things like the house, my dad, and my dog. So, yeah. In case you've noticed that some of my uploads here, especially the morning uploads and the earlier uploads, you might be wondering, like, why am I out here all the time making videos when I can be doing it in my room? Well, partially the reason is because it's one of the only safe spaces where I can actually publicly talk freely about the things that go in an everyday life for me. But again, long story short, y'all, there's not really much going on in comic book universe right now. It really isn't really right now. We're kind of in the slow season. As we might say, wintertime, holidays, it's kind of the slow season. If you guys don't already know and you haven't caught up by now, wintertime, holidays are normally the slow season. They're kind of the slow season in comic book universe, because that's normally when weather's cold, nobody wants to work, nobody wants to make a movie in the wintertime. Everybody wants to work and make movies in the hot and the warm weather, not make movies in the cold weather. So that's kind of why winter's kind of like the slum season in comic book universe. But again, like I said, we should be expecting some more announcements probably by February or March. We'll have lots of more announcements by then. But right now, it's like we're kind of in the slum right now. We're in the comic book slum right now. Comic book universe has been an ultimate slum. I mean, after Joker Folly Do, and then, having Venom, The Last Dance, and then now we're going to have 2 more movies. We're going to have Kraven the Hunter, which I've talked about numerous different times. And then I also talked about numerous different times about Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Other than that, there's really not much to say. But the next big Marvel projects aren't going to be happening until the top of 2025. So, yeah, I'm going to be talking about a lot of different other things. I mean, yeah, I've mentioned about doing the Star Wars stuff. Yeah, I've talked about doing Creature Commandos. I will be talking about those things, at least some of those things. But like I said, based on the last cartoon and the last animation project they made in DC, over in DC Universe, despite the fact that I talked about how Kite Man, Kite Man, I talked about Kite Man a couple months ago, and how terrible that show was. I talked about Suicide Squad anime, the Suicide Squad anime that's over internationally, how bad that was. I also remember I talked about Batman and the Cape Crusader on Amazon Prime. If you guys don't remember that, Go back and watch some of my old videos. I talked about them, bro. But, again, long story short, DC is kind of not really been having a really good track record when it comes to animation and a live action balance. Because when it comes to when they're creating things, it's like, oh, you might have one good project and then followed by flop after flop after flop. But then it's like, Marvel, they're more consistent. They're like, okay, we make one good movie, we make a couple flops, we learn from them, make a better movie. And then make another flop right after. They're kind of more consistent than DC and Warner Brothers is. Because at least Marvel actually picks up on mistakes. DC doesn't seem to be picked up on mistakes. And that's probably why a lot of people are leaving DC. And that's probably why a lot of people are scared and saying, oh, Warner Brothers and Discovery is thinking about selling off their property and selling Warner Brothers and DC properties and IP over to other companies who could buy them better. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, good luck with that one. Good luck with that one. I don't know anybody in the world who'd want to buy the DC or the Warner Brother properties. I don't know. But honestly, I really don't know. But yeah, I really don't know and I really don't care. But I'm kind of neutral on the subject, so again, it doesn't really matter. As long as I'm getting some content from. That's all that I really care about. I just want them to make some good content. I'm not talking about bad content. I'm talking I need some good content. Look, I need some good content. Because lately, the good content has kind of been lacking. Warner Brothers, their content has been lacking. Marvel, their content's good. At least with Marvel, their content's good. DC, their content's lacking. And Star Wars, they were really slacking last summer when they, made the Acolyte. But then the Acolyte was so terrible, they're like, oh yeah, we were supposed to tease Darth Plagueis. But now, people are like, no. That takes away the whole idea from what we learned from Phantom Menace. You already have the Phantom Menace. Why do you want to have to explore a story about something called Did You Ever Hear About Plagueis the Wise? I mean, it's stupid. And I'm glad they canceled it because obviously it takes away the whole fun of not knowing who Plagueis the Wise was. Because it's like, did you hear the one about Plagueis the Wise? I mean, it's better off if we just kept Star Wars that way. Instead of having to put all this High Republic era Dawn of the Jedi type bullshit into the mix of Lucasfilms. I mean, yeah, they're already talking about, all these directors. Like Rian Johnson is thinking about making a whole another sequel trilogy. That's going to take like a massive couple years. And then I heard that other people, like the Thor director, is thinking about making a Star Wars film. The Wonder Woman director is thinking about making a Star Wars film. Rogue Squadron, which I've talked about on the channel before, but that's been in development limbo for a while. Oh yeah, so like I said, then there's The Mandalorian and Grogu. And then there's Rey's New Jedi Order. I already told you about how I'm not really looking too thrilled about the Rey's Jedi Order because Rey's New Jedi Order is supposed to be set in a timeline where like, oh, Rey is older now, but at the same time it's like, oh, she's training a new generation of Jedi that happens after the New Republic. I'm like, oh, okay. But it's like, does anybody really want to invest into a character like Rey? I mean, she's so bland. She doesn't really have any flavor. I mean, Rey doesn't have any flavor, and she never did. She never really had any flavor, but she's the one key piece to connect all of the new Star Wars fans together. It's like, oh yeah, people blaming Star Wars being like, oh, they rely too much on nostalgic. And it's like, come on, bro, you can't always just say and assume, oh, they rely too much on nostalgic. Well, yes and no. They are kind of relying on nostalgic, but at the same time, it's not in the way that you would think. Because, in a way, it's sort of like, okay, yeah, we might be serving all these different shows and all these different movies on one planet. It's like, okay. But at the same time, it's like, you have the rest of the galaxy to explore, bro. You got the rest of the galaxy to explore. And that's the thing that really ticks people off, is because I was like, oh, is it just going to be another series or another movie set on the planet of Tatooine? Because people want to go beyond Tatooine. Because everybody knows what happens on Tatooine. We want to kind of go beyond Tatooine. Before, like, you know, that type of stuff. But people just don't seem to listen. People don't seem to care. So it's like, oh, okay, if you're just going to let the executive heads over at Lucasfilms, like the broken fucking person we have, Kathleen Kennedy, make the charge for us, it's like, oh, you're going to let her make executive decision and not have Dave Filoni or even Jon Favreau even do some stuff? Like, come on, bro. It's all about balance, bro. You gotta have some balance. And yeah, it's like, I get all ticked off and stuff about like all these people saying, oh, the Force is female. The Force is female. No, it's not. No, it's not. The Force is not female. That's the thing that pisses me off about the recent Star Wars woke-ism. It's like, come on, bro. Stop making Star Wars woke. Star Wars is already broken because of people's wokeism. So, if you want to do yourself a favor and leave out the woke elements off of Star Wars and the woke elements off of Marvel, I think me and like a billion other people will be very happy if you left the broken woke stuff out of the series. You know what I'm saying? So then that way it's like, okay, we at least have some people who want to care, but then there's people who just don't care. It's like, come on, bro. Honestly, I know, long story short, yo, they were already 13 minutes in this video. We're almost at our max for how long I have to go on these videos. So I'll see you later.